Can we get complete protein from meat if we're an herbivore and we are now consuming meat? And the answer is absolutely not. We cannot get complete forms of protein. Besides the anatomical problem where our gastrointestinal tract is about 10 times larger than it would be if we were carnivorous, which are very small, a very thick tissue gastrointestinal tract that was able to take care of high amounts of hydrochloric acid. That's what you find in all carnivores, including, by the way, dogs and cats, which are ancestors of wolves and larger cats and creatures of that nature. Your gastrointestinal tract does not have the ability to filter out. It's too sophisticated and it's elongated, so we don't have the ability. Number two, the way that all of us tend to seem to eat meat today is another way to assure that you're not going to get a complete protein. Because we let some rancher that's far away that we never have to look at or deal with kill an animal. The average length is several months between the time of the kill in a slaughterhouse and the freezing process before it gets into your table. That's where we destroy the potential for any amino acids to be there at all that are going to be utilized in any significant and proper way by the human anatomy. We even have rid ourselves of most of those amino acids within 24 hours after the slaughter of the animal. So for those people out there today thinking eating copious amounts of meat is good for you, it's not. When I'm training Olympic level athletes and trying to build muscle on people, I don't give them animal protein. I give them highly digestible, vegan, amino acid rich protein from sprouts, algae, things that we see the results of being very good. Plus bodybuilders who are carnivores, who choose to become carnivores, are generally getting their muscle mass from vegetarian sources. Not good ones, not proper ones, but that's where they get it from. Additional to all of that, we leave behind in our body a shocking amount of residue. Saturated fat, which the human body requires none of. Your body creates a little saturated fat, and we're not supposed to consume any. Number two, a lot of uric acid. And uric acid is a deteriorator of any cell or tissue mass, everything from the nervous system to organ structure to bones. And so the higher incidence of bone density problems are in the populations that consume animal foods. As a matter of fact, there was a very interesting study done by Dr. Luigi Fontana from University of Bologna and Washington University here in the United States in St. Louis. Luigi Fontana looked at living food vegans, people who had been on a living food vegan diet for a long period of time, assuming, of course, with the ideology and propaganda from the meat and dairy industry that we would have weakened bones. He was shocked to find out when he did his research and published it, by the way, that the vegan living fooders had the most agile and most well-built bones of any group. He also found our IGF was lower, and the IGF is what creates, notably, prostate and breast cancer in people. And that has a little bit to do with bone density issues, etc. Rather than being elaborate, we don't want to get into that now. That's the number one issue. Anyone today that is still debating whether or not they should consume animal foods needs to really pick up Dr. Colin Campbell's book, The China Study. And after they read that, if they're not completely convinced because they're so addicted and so feeble that they can't stand on their own feet, then they need to get a film that was produced by Woody Harrelson, a committed vegan, in great part a living fooder. Woody Harrelson's one of the great actors alive today. He did a brilliant film that, by the way, after I saw it, I cried, and my wife stopped seeing it about a quarter of the way through. This is the most vivid portrayal of what they do to these creatures in the process of making them foods, quote, foods for you. And how he did it, I'm not sure, but he went into all of the great slaughterhouses, including in the United States, the #1 kosher slaughterhouse, and showed that it had nothing to do with kosher and the way they treated the animals and abused the animals. I'm sure that if you're not polished off with intellect by reading Dr. Campbell's book, you'll be polished off with emotion by seeing this film that's called Earthlings. So get online and find Earthlings. Woody Harrelson put that together. And after both of those, if you are still consuming animal foods, we're absolutely confirming that you're suicidal at that stage.